Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Carly Corinthos had been running on nothing but adrenaline for days, the kind of restless energy that only fear and suspicion could create. The sense that someone was watching her, tracking her every move had grown unbearable. She stood in the dimly lit kitchen of her home, clutching a mug she had no intention of drinking from. "I know you're out there," she whispered to no one, "and I'm going to find out who you are." When the door creaked softly behind her, she spun around with a gasp, only to see Jason Morgan step in. His blue eyes narrowed in immediate concern. "You okay?" he asked, his voice calm, steady, grounding her even in the worst moments. "No," Carly breathed. "I'm not. There's someone coming into this house. Not breaking in, slipping in. Someone who knows how to avoid being seen." She rubbed her temples. "Something's wrong. I can feel it." Jason's jaw clenched. "Tell me everything." Carly walked him through the last week. The missing items. The subtle shifts in things she knew she hadn't touched. Footsteps she heard at night. Jason listened, motionless, and when she finished, he took a long breath. "I'll put extra security on the house." "It won't matter," Carly said sharply. "This person gets past everything. And they're close, Jason. Close enough to know things I've said when I was alone." Jason's eyes sharpened. "You think it's someone you trust?" Carly nodded, feeling her stomach twist. "Or someone who used to be trusted." At the same moment across town, someone was sitting in a car just a block away, watching Carly's house through a telephoto lens. A hand tightened around the steering wheel, knuckles white. "She's getting too close," the voice muttered. "But she won't stop. She never stops." Later that night, Carly found herself wandering her living room, unable to sit still. She checked the locks on the windows, then rechecked them. Every corner felt heavy with the possibility of danger. When her phone buzzed, she jumped. It was a text from Michael. "Everything okay, Mom?" She typed back, "Just tired." "Don't worry." But Michael did worry. He turned to Willow, who was folding blankets on the couch. "She's brushing me off again," he said. "Something's not right." Willow frowned. "Go check on her tomorrow. Maybe she'll open up." But little did they know, tomorrow would bring an entirely different kind of revelation. Meanwhile, back at Carly's house, the clock hit 2:13 a.m. as she jolted awake in her room, hearing something downstairs. Slow, deliberate movement. Not loud enough to be accidental. She grabbed the baseball bat she kept by her nightstand and tiptoed down the hall. "Okay," she whispered. "Whoever you are, this ends tonight." As she descended the stairs, a shadow moved across the living room. Carly's heart slammed in her chest. "Stop right there," she shouted. The shadow froze. Carly took a step forward, bat raised, only for the figure to suddenly dart for the back door. Carly ran after them, but by the time she reached it, the door was wide open and the night was empty. "Damn it!" she shouted, slamming the door shut. She felt something under her bare foot. A piece of thread. A dark, familiar fabric. Carly picked it up, her throat tightening. "No," she whispered. "This can't be." The next morning she showed the thread to Jason. He stared at it, expression unreadable. "You're sure this is from someone you know?" "I've seen this fabric," Carly said. "I've seen it on." She cut herself off, unable to speak the name out loud. Jason stepped closer. "Carly, tell me who you think it is." She swallowed hard. "Drew." Jason froze. "Drew?" "Carly, I know what you're going to say," she cut in. "But this is from his jacket. The one he left here last month. And you remember what I told you, I've been hearing his voice sometimes. Not clear, but there." Jason's expression shifted to concern. "Hearing his voice doesn't mean he's here." "I'm not imagining this," Carly insisted. "Drew has been off since he got out of Pentonville. He's changed. You feel it too." Jason didn't deny it. "I'll talk to him." "No," Carly said. "I'll handle this." Hours later, Carly marched into Aurora Media, her jaw set. Drew looked up from his desk, startled by her sudden appearance. "Carly? What's wrong?" "You tell me," she said. "Because someone's been sneaking into my house, and all the evidence points right back to you." Drew stood abruptly. What? Carly, that's insane. I would never. Don't lie to me, Carly snapped. I found this. In my living room. Drew took the thread she held out. His face went pale. Carly, this isn't mine. She studied him, searching for any hint of deception. You've been different lately. Secretive. Drew looked away. I've been dealing with things. But I haven't been in your house. What things? She demanded. He hesitated. I can't tell you. That's not good enough. Drew stepped toward her, voice strained. Carly, I swear, whatever's going on. Stop, she said, taking a step back. I want the truth. Before he could answer, his assistant knocked on the office door to remind him of a meeting. Carly turned and walked out. Drew watched her leave, running a hand through his hair in frustration. Meanwhile, the real intruder was watching the confrontation from a distance, smiling. Perfect, they whispered. Let them point fingers at each other. That night, Carly's anxiety grew. Jason insisted on staying over, and she reluctantly agreed. They sat in the living room, lights off, waiting to see if the intruder would return. Jason whispered, You should rest. Carly shook her head. Not until we know who's doing this. Minutes passed. Then an hour. At 3 a.m. Jason's phone buzzed. He frowned at the screen. Security cameras caught movement in your backyard. Carly stood instantly. Let's go. They rushed outside, flashlights cutting through the darkness. A figure darted from behind the shed. Jason took off in pursuit, Carly right behind him. But by the time they reached the tree line, the intruder was gone again. Too quick, too familiar with the property. Jason bent down, picking something up from the ground. They dropped this. It was a key. Carly's key. The spare she thought she'd lost months ago. Someone who had access to my house, she whispered. Someone who knew exactly where I kept this key. Jason pocketed it. We'll run fingerprints. But Carly wasn't listening. She was replaying every encounter, every conversation, every moment from the last few months. Her mind kept circling back to one person. Someone she loved. Someone she trusted completely. Someone who had been in her house countless times. Michael. No, she whispered aloud. No, it can't be. Jason turned to her. What is it? Carly felt sick. This doesn't make sense. But Michael lost his job time card 3 months ago. He told me he misplaced it. And that key. I remember putting it in the drawer in the kitchen. The same drawer Michael helped me reorganize. Jason's eyes widened. Carly, you don't think Michael? No, she said again, shaking her head violently. Michael would never hurt me. Never. Jason put a hand on her shoulder. We follow the evidence, not emotions. Carly sat on the steps, head in her hands. Why would he sneak into my house? What possible reason would he have? Across town, Michael was sitting in his living room, staring at a small black USB drive in his hand. Willow walked in, noticing his tension. What's that? Michael closed his fist around the drive. Something I found in my mom's house weeks ago. I didn't want to say anything until I knew what was on it. Willow frowned. Why didn't you tell her? Because... Michael hesitated. It has information about Sunny. Serious information. Someone planted it there. I didn't want to scare her until I knew who was targeting the family. Willow's eyes widened. Michael, were you in her house at night? He nodded slowly. I didn't want her to know. I didn't want Jason to know. I didn't want to make it worse. Willow covered her mouth. Michael, she thinks someone's stalking her. Michael stood abruptly. I never meant to scare her. I was protecting her. Protecting all of us. Willow grabbed his arm. You need to tell her. Now. But before Michael could move, the intruder's car pulled up slowly outside his house. The real intruder stepped out, grinning. Now the fun begins, they whispered. Back at Carly's, Jason's phone buzzed again. He looked at the screen. The prints came back. Carly's breath caught. Whose are they? Jason hesitated. They're Michael's. Carly felt the world collapse under her feet. No. Jason, this is wrong. Something's wrong. Jason tried to speak, but Carly was already running to her car. I need to talk to him. I need to hear it from him. Minutes later, she arrived at Michael's house and burst through the door. Michael! Michael jumped to his feet. Mom! I need to explain. Carly started shaking. Why were you in my house? Why didn't you tell me? Michael stepped forward. I found something dangerous. Something about Dad. I didn't want you caught in the middle. Breaking into my house? Carly snapped. Scaring me half to death? I was trying to protect you, Michael insisted. I thought someone planted evidence. I had to find out who. Carly's eyes filled with tears. You should have told me. Willow added softly. He didn't want to risk anyone getting hurt. Before Carly could respond, a crash came from outside. The windows rattled. Michael turned sharply. What was that? Jason rushed into the room seconds later, gun drawn. Get down. The intruder stepped into the doorway, face half covered, voice dripping with satisfaction. Well, isn't this a family reunion? Carly gasped. You. The intruder pulled off the mask, revealing a cold, calculating smile. It was Nina. Carly stumbled backward. You've been in my house? Nina tilted her head. You took everything from me, Carly. My marriage. My daughter's trust. My place in this family. Now I'm taking something back. Jason stepped between them. Don't move, Nina. Nina smirked. Or what? Jason, please. If I wanted Carly dead, she'd be dead. Michael stared in shock. You set me up. Oh, please, Nina scoffed. You made it easy. Sneaking around your own mother's house in the middle of the night? All I had to do was follow you. Use what you dropped. Let them find what I wanted them to find. Carly's voice broke. Why? Nina's eyes darkened. Because you deserve to be afraid. To feel what I felt. Carly stepped forward slowly. You don't get to punish me. Not like this. Nina's smile faded. Too late. One sudden motion, one step too far, and Jason tackled Nina to the ground. Michael grabbed Carly, pulling her back as Nina shrieked and fought. Jason cuffed her wrists with zip ties, keeping her pinned. Nina glared up at Carly. This isn't over. Carly, trembling, whispered back. Yes, it is. Hours later, after the police hauled Nina away, Carly sat on Michael's couch, exhausted. He sat beside her, eyes full of guilt. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I never meant to frighten you. Carly leaned against him. I know you didn't. You were trying to protect us. But next time, talk to me. Michael nodded. I promise. Jason stood near the doorway, watching them with quiet relief. It's done, he said. She can't hurt you anymore. Carly exhaled shakily. I should have known. All this time, Nina was the one close enough to betray me. Jason put a hand on her shoulder. She won't be close again. Carly looked at the window, the night finally still, and whispered, No, never again. But deep down she knew in Port Charles, betrayal was never truly over. It only ever waited for the next opportunity. The air in Port Charles, thick with its usual melange of old money, older secrets and fresh scandals, carries a new, more acrid scent, the smell of burning trust. In the high-stakes world of this coastal city, where fortunes are made and lives are shattered in the echo of a well-placed whisper, betrayal is a currency as common as the dollar. But even by these standards, the violation unfolding around Carly Spencer is seismic. Her sanctuary, the very walls meant to shield her from the storm she so often navigates, has been breached. An intruder, shadowed and malicious, has violated her home, her sense of safety, leaving behind not just physical disarray but a profound psychological tremor. And as the investigation unfolds, a terrifying truth is coalescing in the darkest corners of suspicion. This was no random act. The spoilers scream it, the narrative logic confirms it. Carly's intruder has been close all along. This is a betrayal woven from intimate threads, a knife crafted from a familiar hand, and its plunge will redefine alliances, unravel families, and threaten the very foundation of Carly's world. To understand the depth of this betrayal, one must first appreciate the fortress that was stormed. Carly Spencer, née Benson, is no fragile heiress trembling at shadows. She is a force of nature, a self-made woman who clawed her way from a traumatic and impoverished childhood to the pinnacle of Port Charles society. Her resilience is legendary, her cunning undeniable, and her capacity for love, once granted, is ferociously loyal. Her home, whether it was the Metro Court penthouse or her current residence, is more than just a dwelling. It is a symbol of her hard-won stability, a carefully curated bastion against the chaos of her past. It houses not just her possessions, but the memories of her marriages, the laughter of her children, the war councils with her closest allies. To invade that space is to attack the core of her identity. The intruder didn't just steal objects, they sought to shatter her hard-earned peace, to prove that no wall is high enough, no lock strong enough to keep the darkness at bay. This violation is a message, and its personal nature points squarely to someone who knew precisely what they were taking, and more importantly, whom they were hurting. The pool of suspects in Port Charles is never small, but the condition of closeness narrows the field with chilling precision. This isn't the work of a distant corporate rival like Cyrus Renaud or a petty thief. The intruder displayed an intimate knowledge of Carly's schedule, the security layout, the placement of items of specific personal value. This points to a circle terrifyingly proximate. The investigation, led by Detective Harrison Chase and Commissioner Jordan Ashford, will inevitably turn its gaze inward, examining the fingerprints left not just on broken glass, but on Carly's life. At the forefront of any list of those close to Carly is her family, a complex web where love and tension are inextricably linked. Her son, Michael Corinthos, while her fiercest defender, operates in a world of corporate machinations where the line between protecting his mother and making a ruthless power play can sometimes blur. Could a business secret, something Carly inadvertently possesses, be motive enough? More volatile is her brother Lucas Jones, whose life has been marked by severe trauma and manipulation. While not traditionally a villain, fractured psyches can be weaponized by others, and Lucas's history makes him a potential pawn in a larger game. Then there's the specter of Jason Morgan. Though presumed dead, his legacy is a ghost that haunts every corner of Carly's life. An intrusion could be related to the endless search for the secrets he took to his grave, secrets people still believe Carly holds. Beyond blood, Carly's chosen family, her friends and allies, form a tight-knit brigade. But loyalty in Port Charles is a fluid concept. Sam McCall, despite their solidified friendship, has a history of operating in gray areas for what she perceives as the greater good. Could she have been manipulated or coerced into providing information? Curtis Ashford, while married to her best friend Portia, has his own investigative agency and a network of secrets. His allegiance is to truth, which sometimes conflicts with personal loyalty. And what of Diane Miller, Carly's brilliant and unflappable attorney? Diane holds all of Carly's legal and potentially damaging secrets. The betrayal of an attorney-client bond would be a cataclysm of professional and personal proportions. The romantic arena in Carly's life is, as always, a minefield. Her relationship with Drew Kane has been a cornerstone of her recent stability. But Drew, with his complicated history involving memory alteration and corporate espionage, is a man with unseen enemies. Could the intrusion be a warning to him, delivered through her? Their past conflicts, particularly over business dealings with Aurora Media, and the ever-present shadow of his brother Jason, provide fertile ground for motives that could spill over into Carly's life. Furthermore, Carly's tumultuous history with Sonny Corinthos creates a vast network of residual animosity. Enemies Sonny made during his reign as a mob boss, people like the now incarcerated but still influential Cyrus Renaud, or remnants of the Pikeman organization, might see striking at Carly as the ultimate blow against him, a way to destabilize the man who now walks a straighter path. The intruder could be a mercenary, but one hired by someone with intimate knowledge of Carly's vulnerabilities, someone close enough to Sonny to know where it would hurt most. Perhaps the most poignant and painful realm of suspicion lies in the world of female rivalry and fractured friendship that has long been a hallmark of Port Charles. Carly's relationships with other powerful women are layered with years of betrayal, competition, and uneasy truces. Elizabeth Weber, though now in a different orbit, shares a deep, complicated history with Carly, tied forever through their connections to Sonny and Jason. A lingering, unresolved bitterness could fester into something darker. But the most compelling and devastating suspect from this circle is none other than Nina Reeves. The Carly-Nina feud is the stuff of Port Charles legend, a bitter war rooted in the most profound of betrayals, the theft of a child. Nina's lifelong grief over the loss of her daughter, who was Carly's adopted son Nellie Benson, created an enmity that has poisoned years. While they have experienced moments of fragile ceasefire, the foundation is one of deep, mutual distrust. Nina's recent actions, her secret revelation of Sunny being alive in Nixon Falls, which destroyed Carly's marriage, prove her capacity for monumental, life-altering deception. She is now married to Sunny, living a life Carly once had, and simmering with a rage that Carly has gotten away with so much. For Nina, Carly's home represents everything she felt was stolen from her. Family, stability, legitimacy. An intrusion could be an act of psychological warfare, a way to make Carly feel as vulnerable and violated as Nina has felt for decades. The spoilers hinting at a betrayal from someone close all along ring especially true for Nina. She has been hovering at the edges of Carly's life, sometimes as an avowed enemy, sometimes as a reluctant ally, but always there. A constant, close and deeply motivated threat. As the investigation gains momentum, the method of the betrayal will come into sharp focus. It likely began not with a crowbar at a window, but with a subtle gathering of intelligence. A casual question about weekend plans asked by a friend over coffee. A noted absence mentioned in passing at the Metro Court. A delivery schedule confirmed by a staff member. The intruder didn't need to case the joint in the traditional sense. They absorbed the information through the osmosis of proximity. They knew about the broken alarm sensor Carly kept meaning to fix, the spare key once hidden for a child now forgotten, the window in the sunroom that sometimes sticks and doesn't fully latch. This knowledge is the true evidence of intimacy. The fallout from this revelation will be catastrophic and multidirectional. For Carly, the initial violation will be compounded by a paralyzing paranoia. Every friendly face will become a potential mask, every kind gesture a possible ploy. The bedrock of trust upon which she has built her life will turn to quicksand. Her relationships will be stress-tested to their limits. Can she look Drew in the eye without a flicker of doubt? Can she accept a comforting hug from Sam without a subconscious flinch? Her leadership at the Metro Court and in her business ventures may become more isolated, more defensive, potentially pushing away the very people who are truly loyal. For the Corinthos family and their extended network, this betrayal will act as a centrifuge, separating true loyalists from clever traitors. Sonny Corinthos, despite their divorce, will see this as an attack on the mother of his children and a challenge to his domain. His response, whether through legal channels or his older, more visceral methods, will escalate the conflict dramatically. Michael will likely take a corporate strategy approach, using his resources to uncover financial motives or business rivals, potentially clashing with Sonny's more direct tactics. The family will close ranks, but the suspicion will seep inward, causing them to scrutinize each other even as they present a united front. The impact on the romantic relationships at play will be equally devastating. If Drew is in any way implicated, even indirectly, the fragile trust he and Carly have built could shatter. If the betrayal is linked to his past, it could resurrect ghosts they both thought were buried. For Nina and Sonny, if Nina's involvement is uncovered, it would annihilate their marriage. Sonny, for all his complexity, holds loyalty and honesty as non-negotiable tenets in his personal life. A betrayal of this magnitude from his wife, against the mother of his children, would be an unforgivable sin, likely sending him spiraling back toward Carly, not out of renewed romance, but out of a shared, profound sense of betrayal by the same person. On a broader canvas, this event will send shockwaves through the social and power structures of Port Charles. The Metro Court, a central hub for the city's elite, could become a fortress, its owner viewing every guest with suspicion. Business deals predicated on personal trust will stall. The PCPD, already grappling with corruption and complexity, will find its officers personally entangled, as Chase and Jordan navigate a minefield where the suspects are pillars of the community. The narrative will force every character to choose a side, exposing hidden alliances and secret vendettas that have been simmering for years. The thematic resonance of this storyline is profound. At its heart, it is an exploration of the very nature of trust in a world built on secrets. Carly represents the self-made individual who believes she can control her environment through sheer will and careful alliance. The intrusion is a brutal reminder that the greatest threats often come from within the circle of light, not from the outside darkness. It questions whether true safety is ever possible when one's history is as checkered and interconnected as those in Port Charles. The storyline also holds up a mirror to the audience's own relationship with the characters. We, the viewers, have been close all along too. We've shared in their secrets, their joys, their betrayals. The revelation of the intruder's identity will force us to reevaluate every scene, every conversation, every moment of seeming sincerity we have witnessed, making us complicit in the unsettling game of suspicion. As the clues mount, a forgotten earring caught on a drape that matches one owned by a friend, a missed appointment that coincides perfectly with the break-in, a cryptic comment that takes on new meaning in hindsight, a financial transaction that leads back to a familiar company, the walls will truly close in on Carly. The ultimate reveal will not merely be about naming a culprit. It will be about confronting the why. The motive will likely be a toxic cocktail of emotions that Port Charles specializes in. A long-buried resentment that finally boiled over. A desperate need for something Carly possessed. Not just an object, but a status, a man, a life, or a twisted act of revenge for a slight Carly may not even remember inflicting. In the end, the major betrayal surrounding Carly's intruder is more than just a plot point. It is a seismic character study. It will strip Carly back to her core, to the wounded, fiercely defensive girl from the past, forcing her to use every ounce of her survival instinct. It will redefine her relationships, possibly ending some forever and strengthening others in the crucible of fire. For the audience, it is a masterclass in suspense, a reminder that in the world of General Hospital, home is where the heart is, but it is also where the knives are sharpest. The person who violated Carly's sanctuary did so, because they knew exactly where to strike to cause maximum damage. They weren't just in her home. They were in her life, her confidence, her history. And as the truth comes to light, Carly will be left to rebuild not just a broken lock, but a shattered faith, in a city where the face of an enemy is too often the face of a friend. The quiet in Michael's living room felt sharp, too sharp for Carly to ignore. It was the quiet that settled after explosions, unnatural, heavy, full of everything unsaid. Carly stood, pressing a hand over her heart, trying to steady the uneven rhythm pounding inside her chest. Jason watched her closely, concern etched in every line of his face. "You should sit," he said softly. "I can't," Carly whispered. "If I sit, I'll think. And if I think, I'll lose it." Michael rubbed his forehead, guilt pulling his features tight. "Mom, I didn't know Nina was following me. I was so focused on the flash drive and the threats against Dad that I let her slip right in." Carly turned slowly, her eyes red but steady. "You didn't let her do anything. Nina chose this. That's on her. Not on you." Willow placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Listen to her, Michael." Jason stepped forward. "What's on the flash drive?" Michael hesitated. "I didn't look yet. I only know what the label said." Jason raised an eyebrow. "Which was?" Michael swallowed. "It said, S. Corinthos Insurance." Carly's breath froze. "Insurance? Why would Nina have something like that? What is she planning now?" Jason took the drive, slipping it into his pocket. "I'll have Spinelli run it. But you're not going through this alone. Neither of you." Carly closed her eyes. "She wanted to punish me. She said I took everything from her." She shook her head. "But she was willing to destroy all of us again." Willow whispered. "She was unraveling." Carly let out a harsh laugh. "Unraveling? She broke into my house. She stalked me. She tried to turn us all on each other." Jason's voice softened. "But she's in custody now." "For how long?" Carly snapped. Her voice cracked. "She always gets out. She always finds a way to twist the narrative. She'll claim stress. Or trauma. Or some other excuse." Jason didn't answer. He couldn't promise her something he couldn't control. A moment later, police lights flashed faintly outside as officers finished clearing the area. Carly stared at the pulsing glow, remembering all the times the police had been in her life, too many times for any normal person. Michael moved closer. "Mom, stay here tonight. Please." Carly shook her head. "No. I need to go home." Willow frowned. "Your house doesn't feel safe yet." Carly's eyes hardened. "That's exactly why I'm going. I won't let Nina take my home from me. I won't let her haunt the place where my kids grew up." Jason nodded approvingly. "Then I'm going with you." Carly managed a tired smile. "I knew you'd say that." But as they prepared to leave, Michael called out, "One more thing." He stepped toward Carly. "When I went into your house, I wasn't trying to hide from you. I was trying to protect something." Carly studied him carefully. What were you protecting? Michael took a breath. I thought someone was targeting Dad again. Someone dangerous. Not Nina, someone bigger. And I couldn't risk you getting caught up in it. Carly put a hand on his cheek. You should never have been in danger alone. You're my son. Michael swallowed hard. You're my mother. And I thought I could keep you safe. Carly hugged him tightly, closing her eyes as the weight of the night settled on them both. Next time we face things together. When Jason and Carly left, Willow took Michael's hand firmly. She's right. You can't carry this alone anymore. Michael nodded. I know. But Willow didn't know Michael had already made calls, set moves in motion. And whatever was coming wasn't just about Sunny, it was about something much darker. Back at Carly's house, the night air felt still, heavy but calm. Jason entered first, sweeping the rooms methodically. Carly followed behind him, every step stiff, cautious, listening for sounds she no longer trusted. The living room looked exactly the same, but it felt different. Carly whispered. How many nights was she in here? Breathing my air? Touching my things? Jason put a hand on her shoulder. You're safe now. I'll stay until morning. Carly nodded slowly. I don't think I'll sleep. Jason managed a wry smile. Then we'll have insomnia together. They settled on opposite sides of the couch, a silence stretching between them, not awkward but familiar. Carly wrapped a blanket around her legs, staring at the fireplace. You know what scares me the most?